What's the story, folks? Armour here and welcome back to the Armory. So in today's video we're going to go ahead and take a very quick look there at Dark Souls 3. So in the current video that you're going to see some nice gameplay of one of the optional bosses in it, called the Nameless King. A very good boss battle. But more so onto Dark Souls 3 as a game. So for people who've never forayed into the series before, Dark Souls is an RPG type of game where you basically have a player that you get to customize all of the different characteristics and attributes of, including the facial features, the outfits, the weapons and armor you use to fight an array of different enemies, from the undead to knights to kind of more mythological creatures like this dragon you can see me and a friend of mine battling here today. To make a long story short, Dark Souls 3 is a very good game as far as players who like these type of difficult, more of an older style challenge to them, where your sole goal is to proceed and kill bosses and walk through the levels. Very good, very challenging, very difficult game, but very enjoyable nonetheless. Couple things to be aware of for people who've played the previous Dark Souls before. The one thing to note: Dark Souls 3 plays more along the lines of its spiritual predecessor Bloodborne, a PS4 exclusive, where the gameplay is very fast and there's a lot of a higher pace, increased ambushes from various enemies that you face throughout the game, and above everything else, it is just worth noting that there are different elements of difficulty that the game presents depending on your playstyle. Some people who play a more aggressive playstyle will find some of the early portions very difficult and the later portions very easy. People who play very defensive or magic based playstyle will find it very easy in the beginning, but may find it harder as the bosses get more difficult. The game scales the difficulty based on how far you are progressed in the game, and it also will decide the different difficulties based on how many run-throughs of the game you've had. For instance, if you have completed your first run-through of the game, the enemies will be relatively easy on the scale compared to, we'll say, if you're after just completing the game for the 7th time and you're about to start your 8th playthrough. That is how they scale the health bars of the enemies and also how much damage they can do to you. Now, as you can see from the boss battle above, some bosses, like the earlier portion of this fight, take quite a small amount of damage with respect to how much damage you can dish out, and then some of the harder bosses, like this one here, the Nameless King, have a huge health bar and dish out massive amounts of damage. As you can see, my health bar currently takes up about half the screen, and it's still getting absolutely trounced by this particular boss. The enemies in the game have particular weaknesses to certain types of weaponry and the different buffs that you can have. So you can build your character to distribute fire and blood, dark and lightning, etc. And you can also have it to be a very strong character for wielding swords, or a weaker character and you can use different magics, etc. There are collectibles in the game, such as rings, etc., that make the game a little bit longer to play, but ultimately you play it for the gameplay itself, more of an older style game development technique, whereby it's not just a carrot on a stick. You're playing it to maximize the fun that you can get out of it and see what you can bring to the table on another playthrough. So that pretty much summarizes the review of Dark Souls 3. It is the successor to the previous two games and ultimately is a very challenging game. For those who are interested in the series, I do highly recommend that you pick up a copy of the game on your preferred console or PC, and if at all possible, do check out its predecessors, or Demon Souls or Bloodborne. Highly do recommend Bloodborne, as it's a personal favourite of my own, but we'll just say that it's just a very interesting experience for someone who's not used to a more difficult playstyle. But anyway, folks, please do pop down your comments and reviews on this review down inside the comment section, and thank you kindly for tuning in to the Armory HD. I am Armour. Have a very good one.